Interestingly, so Washington, we talked earlier in the year, Brad, moving it over to Washington. We talked earlier in the year about how I thought that the over-under for Washington was going to be low, and it was, and it's actually starting to move up a little bit now, interestingly. So I guess probably some early bettors were putting some money on them and they're moving the line. But Washington's win total over-under 6.5.
You know what? I think Washington is stronger than most do, so I'm gonna put them at 7, man. I'm gonna take the over.
You know, Washington is one of these teams. We talked about this too. They just always seem to do a little bit better than advertised, and
right, they do.
Yeah, and you know, I wouldn't call myself a fan of the Redskins anymore, so this truly is not biased. Like I'm, you know, my only bias is towards my betting slip. Believe me, everybody. I'm not gonna tell you to bet Redskins over because I have any bias at all. If anything, I'm anti-Redskin. When I like things, Brad, I think you're the same way. When I like things, I have a little bit harsher, more pessimistic point of view on them.
Sure, for sure.
You know, the Redskins, look, Jay Gruden, I think, is a really good coach. And what people don't really talk about with Washington, we do because I've seen it, is the last 2 years they've lost their entire offensive line to injury in the middle of the season. Last year with Alex Smith wasn't exactly setting the world on fire. Like he wasn't turning the ball over. He was taking care of the ball, but he was a game manager. This was basically a ground and pound team with Adrian Peterson and play defense. But, you know, once the offensive line got hurt, their entire receiving core got hurt, Washington's. You know, Jordan Reed is getting a little bit older. I think he was healthier, but, you know, they didn't have any other weapons, so he was kind of being shut down. The defense started being on the field a little bit longer. So the team crumbled in the second half, but that wasn't necessarily because the team was bad. It was because they just were decimated by injuries. This team actually was in pole position halfway through the season before the Amari Cooper trade and all that. And then they faded, in my opinion, because of injuries, more because of injuries than because of talent and all that. This year, with the offensive line hopefully being healthy, if you're a Washington fan, you know, I think they can do well even with Case Keenum starting at quarterback, and some people are saying Dwayne Haskins, the rookie there, will start early. I don't think so. That's not really the Gruden, either Gruden, John, or Jay. That's not really their MO, is play the young guy. I think it's going to be Case Keenum. You know, Case Keenum, he's going to turn the ball over, but he's also going to push the ball downfield. I think that it'll probably be a net, you know, an equal, like an even Stevens situation. You know, Alex Smith, he'll have more turnovers, but he'll have more downfield plays. You have Darius Geis coming back from injury and Adrian Peterson back, so their running game is going to be there. The receivers, I still have a lot of questions about them. Paul Richardson's basically their best guy. You have Doxson, who has never fulfilled his draft day position. He's never going to at this point, I don't think. They have a new guy there. You got Jordan Reed. I don't love the team, but I think 7 wins is doable, Brad. I think it's there.
I do too, for sure. I think 8 wins is there.
Yeah, and you know, people forget. I mean, this is a defense that was really good last year. They can get to the quarterback, and if you can get to the quarterback with 4, and you can throw in some exotic blitzes, you're gonna be relevant. And we talked about this with Dallas, right? If you can play good defense, which the Washington can do. I don't think they're as good as Dallas's defense, but they can be, and they certainly were for part of the season last year. The offensive line, when healthy, I don't think is as good as Dallas, but, you know, they're underrated when they're healthy. They can run the ball. So, you know, in December, they're going to be a team that's, you know, that could go 3-1 in December and, you know, break a lot of hearts. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. 7-8 wins, I am on the over on them. That is an unbiased over, even at that 6.5. We'll see. Now, if the Redskins go to Dwayne Haskins early, maybe not, but you know, we'll see how that goes. Well, that was quick, man. From a fantasy point of view, like I said, I don't really like any of the Redskins. You know, I say that with a grain of salt. I do like, you know, Jordan Reed, I think is at this point is a backup tight end. I think the Washington defense is actually a top 10 defense this year because of their ability to sack and create turnovers. So there you go. The whole team's to low points. So, you know, they're a defense that if you're at the end of your draft, you're in a deeper league and you want a second defense, you know, nobody's going to draft them that high, but they could be a top 10 weekly start type defense. So they're worth a grab, you know, and a flyer on them if you're at the end of your rope there. What were the receivers I just stay away from? If you want to draft one, Paul Richardson's your guy. And Darius Geis, we don't know because he got injured. The press on him coming out of college wasn't great, but the press on him once he was in OTAs and everything last year was really high on Washington. So the hype train was already starting to go before he blew his knee out. So, he's worth a flyer, and, Adrian Peterson as well, I think will have some value. So there you go. But there you go, Brad. I mean, do you have anything else, since we're done with that? You want to talk about Kawhi real quick? Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers?
Yeah, I love Kawhi. I think he made the great, smart choice, and the West is just going to be so competitive. Yeah, it's just going to be absolutely incredible.
I saw the lines. So the Clippers moved up. I think they might be the number one team in terms of lines. The Lakers are up there now. I don't really love the Lakers roster composition.
I don't either.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. But the two bigs, they just basically built the New Orleans Pelicans 2 years ago and added LeBron, which, LeBron is a pretty big piece to add. So
Sure. Maybe the biggest, right?
Yeah, LeBron playing point guard is going to be interesting. I look forward. Sam and I are going to delve into that in the Functional Sportsaholic, which I think we might actually be recording later today, but that'll be out this weekend. So if you're, if you're interested in hearing Sam's take, from the basketball X's and O's point of view, we'll be talking about that. Kawhi and Paul George, that's interesting. Russell Wilson maybe going to Miami, that's interesting. So it's going to be an interesting summer in the NBA too, man. Like, there's still some stuff that's going to shift and shake out. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
All right. Going to be great.
Yep. Hey, quick episode, but I think we hit all the points. I cannot wait for the NFL season, man.
Oh, my God. I'm counting the minutes.
I know. So next week, I think we're going to be talking about AFC North. Interesting division now. Pittsburgh, Baltimore with their kind of run-first mentality. Cleveland, all the hype. And then Cincinnati, I think they're behind the pack in terms of hype, but I don't think they're as bad as everybody's saying there are. So I look forward to getting into those over-unders. Brad, thanks for recording this morning. Everybody out there, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. I'm at TFS_Sean. I also have just basically started launching the YouTube channel. So if you're interested, you can catch us on YouTube now. Just search for Functional Sportsaholic. And, of course, we got the Fantasy Football Almanac and Draft Guide, the 2019 version. Go to Amazon, just search for Sean Ryan or Functional Sportsaholic or Fantasy Football Almanac and Draft Guide. Thanks again to Bet Online. Thanks again, Brad. Everybody out, go out, make some bets, get paid.